Federal government reviews report on influx of small arms and light weapons into Nigeria. South Korea religious sect leader apologizes over spread of coronavirus. Keep your vitality. A life without health is like a river without water.
Hello everyone, coming on business news tonight. Federal government spent 43 billion naira to subsidize petrol in January. To join us on the business segment of the news for details, my name is Idowu Fabaju.
And coming up on the sports segment of the news tonight, ex-Liverpool player gets 4-month ban for betting breaches. These are many more when I return later. My name, Hakeem Akitunde. You're welcome.
Once again, you're welcome to the OGTV main news. The newly absorbed 2,000 workers inherited from the immediate past administration in Ogun State have expressed their appreciation to the state governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun. The beneficiaries also commended the government for the payment of 9 months' arrears of salaries owed them. Governor's office correspondent Tunde Olaniro reports that the governor advised the workers to be role models and justify their absorption into the state civil service. His reports.
It was not a protest at the governor's office, Okemoson, Abeokuta, but an appreciation to the governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun.
Congratulations, Oremo Warewa. Oremo Warewa. Oremo Warewa. Congratulations, Oremo Warewa.
They wrote the ASCON exams in 2018. They were employed in April 2019. And in January 2020, Governor Dapo Abiodun validated their appointments and absorbed them into the state civil service.
And we saw a lot of these employments or promotions. We viewed them with a lot of suspicion because we wondered, why would an administration be employing people at the twilight, of their exit? Was it a deliberate attempt to inflate the wage bill and make the state unmanageable for us? So we thought, okay, on assumption of office, we'll take a closer look and actually look at it objectively. And that we did. It took us a few months. What we did was we set up a committee to look at all these promotions and appointments. And sometime in December, having reviewed the report of that committee, we decided that the right, the just, the fair, and the equitable thing to do was to absorb all of you formally. And that we did.
9 months' salaries were paid to these workers all at once, which, according to the governor, is the right and just thing to do.
And we also decided that you deserve to be paid from the time you received your letter of employment till date. And that we also did. It's important for you to know that we are an administration that has vowed to uphold all the tenets of good governance. We've said we are going to be inclusive. We are going to be participatory. We said we are going to be just, we will be fair, we will be equitable. We also obey the rule of law. We are not an administration that's here to witch hunt anybody, but to do that which we believe is right before man and before God. I just want to charge all of you that now that we're giving you this opportunity, please make sure that you justify it. Do not do anything that will make us or give us cause to regret the day that we decide to absorb you. I expect that you will become role models in all areas where you will be serving, either as trace or in any other capacity.
The head of service, town planner Amape Choko, challenges the new workers to make integrity their watchword.
I have always said it that Excellency is a kind-hearted man, and you have seen that he has proven it with even the payment of the arrears of about 9 months for all our new workers. And I want to implore you all workers, you have promised that you will remain dedicated, hardworking, and committed And as you serve in your various ministries and agencies, I want to commend you that you should remain officers of integrity. Integrity should be your watchword.
The new workers expressed their joy this way.
And we promise you that we will never disappoint you. And then we promise to justify our appointment by taking Ogun State Civil Service and Ogun State at large to the next level.
Thank you, sir, for putting smiles on our faces and the faces of our family. On this note, I will be leaving you with the word of the Lord in Exodus 14, verse 14. It says that the Lord will fight for you and he will hold your peace.
You are unique among all the governors we have in the 36 states in this country. And since Ogun State was created, it is to be noted that some of the governors in other states disengage their employees. You also made payment of 9-month arrears to all people employed, even to the tune of 1 billion naira. It is indeed a great relief because it cuts across families in the state.
They promised the governor to uphold worthy character, competence, and resilience in the discharge of their duties. Tunde Olanero, OGTV News.
And now to health-related issues. As part of measures to contain the spread of the coronavirus outbreak, Ogun State government has launched a mobile application that will enhance information dissemination among health workers. Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi Koka, who made this known at the Emergency Operation Committee in Abeokuta, said that the Android application codenamed ComCare will serve as one resource for information about case definition. The commissioner said that the mobile device will help workers at the primary health care centers to easily do risk assessment before it escalates to the local government levels, pointing out that the application has been rolled out at Ewekuru local government area to enhance the activities of health workers. The commissioner further revealed that the application will be deployed for use in 2 other priority areas, including Adu-Odiota and Ifo local government areas respectively, given the volume of industrial activities in their localities. The commissioner assured that the Prince Dapo Abiodun-led government has all it takes to contain the COVID-19, calling on members of the public to remain calm and practice personal hygiene. Meanwhile, Ogun State government has released 2 hotlines for public notification on health emergencies in the state. The 2 hotlines are 0818-897-8392 and 0818-897-8393. This is another effort by the state government to further curb other contagious diseases. Similarly, the federal government has alleged fears that the outbreak of coronavirus in Nigeria had spread to Plateau State, saying the 4 Chinese nationals suspected of contacting the disease have tested negative. Minister of Health, Dr. Sage Hanire, disclosed this while briefing reporters on Monday in Abuja. He maintained that no new confirmed case of COVID-19 had been recorded in the country since an index case was reported in Lagos last week. It can be recalled that an unnamed Italian citizen who entered Nigeria from Milan, Italy for a brief business visit had tested positive to the virus. The patient was subsequently placed under intensive care at the Infectious Disease Hospital in Yaba, Lagos. According to Ehanire, 14 tests have been done from contact tracing of the index patient, with all of them testing negative. It said that in addition to the tracing of the contacts linked with the index patient, the federal government has also activated other response activities to contain the spread. The minister said Plateau State government reported 4 suspected cases among Chinese nationals, but they have tested negative. And away from health, Ogun State Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun has expressed his administration's readiness to set up a safety commission that will be working closely with relevant safety agencies to ensure maximum protection of lives and property in the state. Governor Dapo Abiodun will disclose this at the 2020 World Civil Defense Day celebration with the theme Civil Defense and First Aid in Every Home, held at the MKO Abiola Stadium, Kuto, Abeokuta, said the Safety Commission will be the first point of call for protection. Represented by his deputy, Engineer Noimot Salako Oyedele, the governor said the commission will be going around schools, public gatherings and offices in the state to educate people on first aid emergency procedures, fire alarm, smoke detector, noting that all the moves were aimed at making sure that emergency situations and accidents were better managed in the state.
It's very appropriate and very germane to what we have seen in our society. With Civil Defense Corps, together with a lot of the civil and security defense organizations, have taken giant stride in recent years in protecting us outside the home and protecting us from what we would term emergency and disaster situations.
Late in the call on this year's anniversary, it said the state government looked forward to working closely with the curve than before in delivering first aid in every home. Earlier in his welcome address, the State Commander Ahmed Abodurin said the World Civil Defense Day 2020 was aimed at least ensuring that at least a member of each family should be able to provide help in emergency cases, which requires them to be familiar with the notions of first aid and ambulance services. Ogun State Head of Service, Town Planner Amope Chako, has warned workers in various agencies who were fond of posting circulars or correspondences meant for internal consumption on social media to desist from such acts which could deter the progress of the state. Mrs. Chako, who gave the warning during a meeting with the permanent secretaries held at the Head of Services Conference Room, Okemoso, Abeokuta, said that there was confidentiality in civil service and it was wrong for anybody to post those circulars on the internet. She said the civil service system should not deteriorate, asking the permanent secretaries to caution officers under them and discipline anyone caught in the act.
When we send out circulars, before you know we are in the age of social media. Before you know it's already on there. Even circulars that are not meant for the public. They just throw everything to, they've lost caution as to everything to the social media. So, but we have responsibility to let them know that there's confidentiality in the service, and circulars meant for us is not supposed to be seen on the social media. Before you say Jacobson, they just posted their links. So we need to caution them. And if we should catch any, we need to discipline them.
Service urged the permanent secretaries to organize a retreat for the staff, especially the new intakes who came in through ASCON, to take them through the basic rudiments which will help them in service to be committed and disciplined, saying that Governor Abiodun has trust in civil service system and workers should not disappoint him. The OGTV News will continue shortly after this break. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the OGTV News. The governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, has paid a condolence visit to the Olofin of Ilisho, Oba Michael Shonuga, on the demise of his wife, Olori Titilayo Abeni Shonuga. The governor described the late Olori as a woman of virtue and integrity, urging the Olofin of Ilesha to take solace in the fact that a demise is the will of God.
I pray that Olori's soul will continue to rest in peace. Kabiyesi, I'm sure that I do not need to preach to you, but we all know that we all have our destinies. And the Bible also tells us that not one hair can fall from our head without our Lord allowing it. So I don't have a doubt in my mind that this happened because our Father in heaven allowed it. This has happened because it is in fulfillment of the destiny of Olori. We all wake up in the morning, we make a lot of grandiose plans, we make plans into the future. But man can only propose. It is God that disposes. May God grant you the fortitude to bear this irreplaceable loss. May God grant all the members of the family, including your children, the strength that is needed at this time to get over this very, very difficult period. And my prayer, Kabiyesi, is that Ojo Ajina Jiraon.
Thanked the governor for the visit.
Her Excellency was here yesterday, and she did very well, and we're happy to see her as well. Actually, Olori is a fan of you. I can assure you, during the campaign, she's always, she supported you very well with Kabiyesi. So on behalf of the children, we thank you very much. We thank you for very much in advance for the support you promised us. Whatever it is, we are still loyal to you.
Olori Titilayo Abeni Shonuga died on the 28th of February 2020 at the age of 75. The Secretary to the Ogun State Government, Mr. Tokunbo Talabi, has commiserated with the Olofin of Ilesha, Oba Michael Shonuga, on the demise of his wife, Olori Titilayo Shonuga, who died at the age of 75. Mr. Tokunbo Talabi, who was on a condolence visit to the monarch at his country home in Ilesha, Ikenne local government area of the state, expressed root shock over the sudden passage of Olori Titilayo Shonuga, a virtuous mother, maintaining that a death was a huge loss to the monarch's family, traditional institution in the state, and the immediate kingdom. He encouraged the monarch to take solace in the fact that the deceased left behind remarkable legacies that will forever linger on in the hearts of all their loved ones. Speaking on behalf of the monarch's family, Mr. Tunji Shonuga appreciated the state scribe for commiserating with the family, stressing that the untimely death of Olori Shonuga had dealt a huge blow on the family. Olori Titilayo Shonuga passed away after a brief illness. May her soul rest in peace. As part of activities marking the biannual general meeting of Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, Federal Medical Center, Idiaba, Abeokuta chapter, the body of medical experts have provided inmates of the Nigeria Correctional Service, Ibara Abeokuta, with free medical checkup, consultations, and drugs. This gesture, according to members of the association, is a way of giving the most neglected members of the society their professional help. Ife Shulade covered the event, and his report is presented in this package.
They are top echelon of various medical practice from the Federal Medical Center, Abeokuta, handing over gifts to officers of the Nigerian Correctional Service Center, Ibara, Abeokuta, as an act of corporate social responsibility to members of the society. Members of the Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, FMC Abeokuta chapter, were also on the ground to attend to both officers and inmates of the correctional center.
There's going to be consultation, there's going to be counseling, there's going to be examinations, and some tests will also be carried out to those that need them, and eventually drug will be prescribed. So we hope that in this little way we may have contributed to the needs of this institution.
Appreciating members of the association on behalf of the inmates were officers of the correctional center who described the gesture as a commendable act of selfless service.
Thank you for choosing this place to be one of the places you can touch the needs of the helpless in the society. We are extremely grateful.
This one will go a long way in that we have different people from different fields, specialty, that we attend to the need of our inmates here.
Some of the inmates with critical health challenges were immediately referred to hospital for proper medical care. The program is part of the 4-day biennial general meeting of the body.
The Speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Olakunle Olomo, has lauded the ingenuity of a member representing Abeokuta State 2 constituency, Ademuyiwa Adeyemi, on the donation of a set of boreholes to supply potable water to residents of Ijo-Ntutu community in Abeokuta. Olomo, who gave the commendation while commissioning the facility, pointed out that such self-sponsored project financed from personal income was an exemplary gesture worthy of accolades from constituents. While describing Adeyemi as a legislator with proven track records in the Olive Chamber, the Speaker noted that all the lawmakers will continue to do intervention projects from their personal income to make life easier for their constituents.
Let me commission this self-provided borehole by Adeyemi for his community. Despite the fact that we have not embarked on government-financed constituency project, but he's doing this from his personal resources to satisfy the yearning of his people. I commend him and I commission this borehole in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Speaking on the rationale behind the donation of the project, Adeyemi stated that it was part of his legislative duty to provide succor in response to the yearnings of the people, thereby complementing Governor Dapo Abiodun's efforts at making life more abundant for the people. He acknowledged that the governor had within a short time revamped the State Water Corporation towards providing potable water to residents of the state at large. Hence, the need to complement through the implementation of projects in line with community demand. The lawmaker promised that more developmental projects will be facilitated to his constituency. A bill seeking for immunity for presiding officers of legislative institutions before the House of Representatives is waiting for passage. This bill, which has started to generate reactions from some Nigerians who spoke with OGTV News, was described as a blatant assault on the rule of law, breach of public trust, and abuse of legislative privileges. Kolawole Osho has details of the report presented in this package.
Section 308, subsection 3 of the Nigerian 1999 Constitution spells out specifically the persons to whom the privilege of immunity from prosecution applies, as the president, the vice president, state governors, and deputy governors. Recently, at the lower chamber of the National Assembly, Honorable Debumi Olusegun sponsored a bill seeking to extend immunity to cover presiding officers of legislative institutions. This has passed second reading. Nigerians who spoke with OGTV News on the recent development say Instituting such bill is a way of promoting crimes and corruption in the country.
They want immunity. What for? You want to be stealing? You want to be dishonest? You want to defraud? You want to embezzle? You want to commit your own impunity? You are our lawmakers, you are representatives. We don't want immunity for the lawmakers.
I mean, how many projects are you executing that will warrant you not to want to be taking immunity? Let them legislate very well. Let them face the legislative aspect of government squarely. Let them do bills, pass bills that will be able to give Nigerians a lot of succor.
They say there is no need for such a law, considering the state of insecurity in the nation.
The essence of immunity clause that was inserted into our constitution, we inherited it from the Indian constitution and the American constitution. And the philosophy behind this is that so that people in governance will not be distracted, so that by the time they have floodgate of cases going to court every day, they may say that they have been distracted over what they should do, because of course the executive, the president, and the governors, they are to execute our laws. So if the lawmakers are now saying, okay, give us immunity, it's madness. Immunity for what? It means you want to place yourself above the constitution.
Our immunity, which is to be used positively as a shield, is now being used as a sword. It's now a matter of regret. Immunity then turned out to be or became impunity. We are still trying to wriggle out. We are still trying to work for constitutional amendment to remove immunity so that you can face the job. Then if you offend or you commit anything, then they take you to court.
According to respondents, extending immunity to the presiding officers of the National and State Assemblies is a way of shielding them from answering any question generated by their actions or preventing them from litigations. Nigerians were of the opinion that the lawmakers should place the interest of their constituents above personal interests.
Development in the education sector is capital intensive, hence the need for well-spirited Nigerians to support government at all levels towards developing education in the country. The Special Advisor to Ogun State Governor on Primary, Secondary and Technical Education, Mrs. Ronke Shoyombo, made this known at the official launching of Educational Support Pilot Scheme by the Rising Hope Initiative and distribution of free textbooks to primary and secondary schools at Ikena local government area of the state. Kule Ibikule's report is presented in this package.
The current administration in Ogun State places high priority on the education sector. In view of this, the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology is not leaving any stone unturned towards galvanizing support from stakeholders to develop the sector.
What Mr. and Mrs. Shoname, what they have done today, they have said, we now want to complement what the government is doing. And when I looked at the list of books sent to me when this invite was sent, I looked at them. There are books that we use for a lot of our private schools. And I mean top private schools internationally. So I want to say a big thank you. The good Lord will continue to repay you for this.
The Special Advisor to the Governor on Primary, Secondary and Technical Education, Mrs. Ronke Shoyombo, reiterates the state government's commitment to revamp the education sector and highlights some of the achievements of the current administration in the state on education.
One school is renovating and building new schools, at least one per ward, in all the 236 wards of Ogun State. Not only that, he has started paying running costs, which was not being paid before. Also been able to train 1,500 teachers on use of ICT as well, on Cisco. This is a wake-up call for all Nigerians out there, particularly people from Ogun State. Let's do it together.
Speaking on the Rising Hope Initiative, the founder, Mrs. Kemi Shoname, and her husband, Honorable Adekunle Shoname, say the launching of the Educational Intervention Scheme is a way of contributing to the development of education sector in the state.
The distribution of over 20,000 study packs, examination pass question booklets for all primary sets, GSS 3 and SS3 students enrolled government-owned secondary school within the Kenya local government area. We have 1,170 of them. In GSS 3, we are going to cater for 2,447 students. and SH3 we have 1,846.
15 years down the line, 20 years down the line, these kids are the same kids that are going to impact negatively on our children. So it is not just enough to make sure that our children get quality education. We must equally ensure that every child gets quality education.
While distributing textbooks to students, the Alakperu of Ikperu Obadeleke Idowu Basibo and Alakene of Ikene Obadeyinka Onokade lauded the initiative. High point of the event was distribution of textbooks to students, which included mathematics, English language, biology, and general science.
Registration for year 2020 edition of the annual quiz competition organized by the management of SG Holdings Foundation has been extended of Wednesday, March 4, 2020. A statement signed by the management indicates that the first stage of the competition, which is dedicated to the memory of Mr. Damilola Omidiji, holds on Saturday, 7th March 2020 at 11 in the morning in 4 centers: Abeokuta Grammar School for schools and students, and Abeokuta South, Abeokuta North, Ifo, Ewekoro, Odeda, and Obafemi Wode local government areas; Yewa College, Ilaro for schools and students, and Yewa South, Yewa North, Imekwafo, Ipokia, and Adodota local government areas. Remo Secondary School is for schools and students in Ikene, Remo North, Odogbulu, and Shagamu local government areas, and Ijebode Grammar School for schools and students in Ijebu North, Ijebu Northeast, Ijebu East, Ijebu Ode, and Ogun Waterside local government areas. The statement adds that schools and students are to call 0803 712 2363 or 0803 321 8455 for inquiries. Technology as a primary source of development to many advanced countries has remained a major source of improvement to the economic growth of those nations. In this report, Nigerians expressed their views on how best nations can take advantage of local content in technology to drive their economy. Peter Falomo reports.
Technology innovation and economic development of any nation are believed to be inseparable entities, such that the application of scientific understanding of machineries are used to fast-track industrial growth. The level of technology in such given society is equally an important determinant of economic growth and largely responsible for rapid economic development in the advanced countries.
There's no way you want to improve economy that you will not have to fight time management, fighting corruptions, and specializing.
In those days, we look at the world market as an arrangement where buyer and seller needs to meet face-to-face before they can transact business. But with the technology today, you don't necessarily need to meet in a particular location to transact business. One can be in any part of the world and transact business. So online, with use of social media. So advertisement could take place, negotiation, discussion, and all sorts of arrangements that we call it facilitate business.
We are yet to start using technology in so many things that we are doing. The hospital system, the market system, many things that we are doing, we want to make use of technology so that we'll be able to spend less and we have more money for the economy, so that this will develop our nation.
Respondents added that a nation that spends more on scientific and technical research tends to grow faster and increase in our gross domestic product. Asked about the inhibiting factors to advanced technology causing the nation's economy to foot drag, respondents speak.
We have to start making use of homemade software that we develop in Nigeria. That's one of the things that's going to help us. What we are saying is that federal government, state governments, and those in the helms of affairs should encourage local content.
The government needs to actually fix the issue of power generation, because when we have new technology, we need power to make sure it operates.
Nigeria as a nation needs to think deeply and see how we can first tackle corruption, and after doing that, look at the areas of infrastructural deficits. We have it all around us, and without having to fight these two things, we cannot develop technologically.
They enjoined the leadership of the country to ensure that the field of technology is given more attention, as the sector is capable of improving both the agriculture and oil sectors. Peter Falomo, OGTV News.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has given an assurance that the federal government will soon develop a clear-cut set of strategies to curb and curtail the proliferation of small and light weapons in the country. He gave the assurance on Monday at a meeting with top security chiefs and members of the Presidential Committee on Small Arms and Light Weapons in Abuja. According to a statement by his media aide, Laolu Akonde, Professor Osinbajo chaired the inaugural meeting of the committee in line with the directive of the President. He called for the development of a clear-cut, specific line of action to address the serious problems of small arms and light weapons. The Vice President decried that this fueled the insurgency in the Northeast and other security challenges in the country. He noted that the seriousness of the matter had necessitated the setting up of the review committee. The problem we have at hand is really enormous, said Osinbajo, who stated that was why the President was keen on effective and prompt solutions. Members of the committee present at the meeting included the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, the Minister of Interior, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Geoffrey Nyama. Others were the National Security Advisor, Major General Babangida Munguno, retired, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Muhammad Adamu, and the Controller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, retired Colonel Hamed Ali. Also in attendance were the Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, Ahmed Abubakar, the Chief of Defense Intelligence, Air Vice Marshal Mohammed Usman, the Chairman of Prescom, Ambassador Emmanuel Umohe. The representatives of the Director General of the Department of State Services, DSS, and the Ministry of Defense were also present. At the last National Security Council meeting, President Muhammadu Buhari had directed the Vice President to chair a committee to review the reports of the Presidential Committee on Small Arms and Light Weapons, Prescom. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemieson, has charged Nigerians 7 in the public sector to be ready to give more to the country than just the discharge of their duties. She gave the charge on Monday when the top management staff of her office gathered to give her a rousing welcome on her first day as substantive head of service of the Federation. According to a statement issued by the Director of Information Head of Services Office, Olaomi Ogumosun, Dr. Yemi Eson called for cooperation from all workers in the Federal Civil Service, noting that unity is the hallmark of success. It will be recalled that President Muhammadu Buhari confirmed the appointment of Dr. Folashade Yemieson as head of service of the Federation on Friday, 28th February 2020. She has been in acting capacity since Thursday, 19th September 2019. The Supreme Court has adjourned the hearing of the application seeking to restore Emeka Ihedioha of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, as the governor of Imo State till Tuesday, 3rd of March 2020. A 7-man panel of the justices of the Apex Court, led by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Muhammad, adjourned the matter at the request of Ihedioha's lawyer, Chief Kanu Agabi, SAN, who pleaded for time to respond to court processes he said was served in by Governor Hope Uzodinma and the All Progressives Congress, APC, in a courtroom. On their part, Counsel to Uzodinma and the APC, Mr. Damen Dudu, SAN, said his clients were ready for the hearing to proceed. The National Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, through its lawyer, Mr. Tamino Unuwa, SAN, said it was also ready. The Federal High Court, sitting in Benin City, the Edo State capital, has adjourned the alleged fraud case against former People's Democratic Party governorship candidate in Edo State, Osage Ize Yamo, and 4 others. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, filed an 8-count charge of money laundering against the accused persons including late PDP chieftain Tony Aneni. At the resumed trial, the case was told when lawyers for the defense counsel argued against the competence of the charge before the court. Speaking to journalists, the counsel to the second defendant, Eddie Asenogwan, explained that the court needs to decide if the issue of late Aneni and the charge is competent or not. Prior to this time, the court raised an issue as to the appearance of the name of Tony Aneni in charge, so that court needs to decide whether the charge containing the name of a third person is competent or not. The case has been adjourned till March 26, 2020 to determine the competency of the charge. Well, federal government paid 43.09 billion naira subsidy on petrol in February 2020. More business stories with Idowu Fabajo in a short while.
Thank you, Muji Sola. We'll begin business tonight with the federal government through the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, who paid 43.09 billion naira as subsidy on premium motor spirit, PMS, also known as petrol, in the month of February 2020. According to data obtained from the Petroleum Products Price and Regulatory Agency, the amount paid as subsidy in January 2020 represented a decline of 22.47%. when compared with the 55.58 billion naira paid by the federal government to subsidize the commodity in December 2019. In addition, the agency report stated that a total of 1.59 billion liters of petrol was supplied across Nigeria in 30 days out of the 31 days in the month under review. Meanwhile, the expected open market price of premium motor spirit, popularly known as petrol, has dropped below the approved pump price of 145 naira per litre, as the landing cost of the product plunged to 123.88 naira per litre. Going by the latest pricing template, the Petroleum Products Price and Regulatory Agency, petrol was expected to be sold at 143.25 naira per litre last Thursday if the price of the product was adjusted to reflect the change in crude oil price. The international oil benchmark, Brent crude, has been on a downward trend since the coronavirus broke out in China. It tumbled below the $50 per barrel mark last Friday for the first time in 2.5 years, from as high as $70 per barrel in January. Business activities, production level, new orders, supplier delivery time, employment level, and raw materials inventories grew at a slower rate in February 2020. The Central Bank of Nigeria's Statistics Department disclosed in its February 2020 Purchasing Managers Index Survey report. It stated that the manufacturing PMI in the month of February stood at 58.3 index points, indicating expansion in the manufacturing sector for the 35th consecutive month. And that's it on the business segment of news. Many thanks to you for staying with OGTV News. Bye now.
Thank you, Idowu. On the world today, South Korea church leader has apologized for coronavirus spread in the country. Also, Argentinian President Alberto Fernandez proposes legalization of abortion. Let's now join Olayinka Shodunke for details.
On the world today, we'll be starting from South Korea, where the head of the religious sect that has been in the center of the coronavirus outbreak in South Korea has apologized to the nation for the spread of the disease. Lee Man-hee, the leader of Shincheonji Church of Jesus, got on his knees and bowed at a news conference. About 60% of the country's more than 4,000 confirmed cases are sect members. On Monday, South Korea, the biggest hotspot outside China, reported 476 new cases, bringing the total number to 4,121. It has recorded 26 deaths. Prosecutors have been asked to investigate Mr. Lee on possible charges of gross negligence. From South Korea to the United States of America, where Pete Buttigieg, the former Indiana mayor who made an ambitious run for president, has announced he is ending his campaign for the White House. The 38-year-old became the first openly gay presidential candidate from a major party when he announced he was running for the Democratic nomination. But despite a successful start, his campaign lost momentum in recent weeks. His decision to drop out comes ahead of a key day on Tuesday in a Democratic race to take on Trump. 14 states will vote on Tuesday, by the end of which staunch left-winger Bernie Sanders could have an unbeatable lead and be a step closer to the nomination. His departure leaves 6 Democrats still in the running: Joe Biden, Mr. Sanders, Michael Bloomberg, Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar, and Tulsi Gabbard. Now to Argentina. Argentina's President Alberto Fernandez has said he will send a bill to legalize abortion to Congress within the next 10 days. Mr. Fernandez, who was sworn in as president in December, has previously described abortion as a matter of public health. In Argentina, abortion is allowed only in cases of rape or if the mother's health is in danger. It is largely prohibited across Latin America, except in restricted cases. If the bill is passed, Argentina will become the largest country in the region to legalize abortion. And lastly, on the world today, Israelis are voting in an unprecedented third general election in less than a year, with the Prime Minister fighting for his political survival. Neither Benjamin Netanyahu nor his main challenger, Benny Gantz, were able to put together a majority coalition following the last 2 elections. The final opinion poll suggested the latest round is too close to call. Mr. Netanyahu is seeking re-election 2 weeks before he is due to stand trial on corruption charges. He has been ordered to appear in court in Jerusalem on the 17th of March to hear the indictment against him. And that's it on The World Today.
That was The World Today with Yinka Shodonke. It's now time to join Hakim Akitsunde of our sports desk.
Welcome to the sports segment of the news. Ogun State has a chance to host 2022 National Sports Festival. This was the view of architect Katwam Donsge, chairman of the Evaluation Bid Committee, after the inspection of sporting facilities in Abeokuta, Ijebu, and Shagamu. Moses Ajomi reports that the Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Dr. Oluwadare Kende, who took the team around Ogun State, emphasized on the readiness to host the 21st edition of the National Youth Games.
For the hosting of the 2022 National Sport Festival has begun, and Ogun State is one of the bidding states. These are members of the Evaluation Bid Committee on an inspection tour to sporting facilities in the state. After a warm reception, the Evaluation Bid Committee, guided by the Ogun State Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Dr. Oluwadare Kende, and Ministry of Youth and Sports top officials, set out and inspected MKO Abiola International Stadium, Abeokuta Sports Club, Alake Sports Center in Georgia, June 12 Cultural Center, Abeokuta Golf Club, Lishabi Grammar School, and African Church Grammar School, all proposed venues for indoor and outdoor events. Afterwards, the inspection train moved to Gateway International Stadium, Shagam, and ended the tour at Depodin International Stadium, Ijebu-Ode. Ogun State Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Dr. Oluwadare Kende, restates the readiness of the state to host the 21st edition.
We want to assure them that we are capable to host the entire nation in Ogun State. We are on ground, and we appreciate the fact that if they can consider us, that will stimulate the economic of Ogun State. It will also help us to gainfully engage our youth. And I'm sure that as Ogun State, we are first in everything.
We have seen the various facilities that they have and the state in which each one of them is. It is expected of us also that we will put as a committee to articulate that which we have seen and submit it to our principals, and then pronouncements will be made. But why not? They have a chance.
14 years after hosting Gateway Games 2006, Ogun State will leave no stone unturned towards clinching the hosting rights for 2022 edition. Moses Ojewumi, OG TV News.
Unbeaten world boxing champion Floyd Mayweather Jr. says he will help Deontay Wilder beat Tyson Fury in their rematch if only he can train the former WBC heavyweight champion. Mayweather stated this at an event in Manchester, England over the weekend. Wilder has exercised his rematch clause with Fury and is expected to get back in the ring for a third fight with the Briton on July 18 in Las Vegas. Floyd has been especially supportive of Wilder after he lost his title to Fury on February 22. Meanwhile, British world champion Anthony Joshua will fight Kubrat Pulev at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday, June 20. Bulgarian Pulev, 38, is the mandatory IBF challenger to take on Joshua, who holds the WBA, IBF, and WBO titles. Joshua won back the belts with a unanimous points victory over Andy Ruiz Jr. in December. It will be Joshua's first fight in the UK since beating Alexander Povetkin at Wembley in September 2018. And to some football stories now, ex-Liverpool striker Daniel Sturridge has been banned from football for 4 months for breaching betting rules. He was originally given a 6-week ban last summer, 4 of them suspended, but the FA appealed against the findings of an independent commission. An appeal board also doubled the 30-year-old's fine to £150,000. It was announced on Monday that Sturridge's contract with Turkish side Trabzonspor has been terminated by mutual agreement. And back home, 2 away wins were recorded on Sunday as the Nigeria Professional Football League entered match day 22. In Okigwe, Heartland lost 2-0 to their high-riding visitors, Rivers United, who maintained their second spot on the log. Lobby Stars also remained in contention with a 1-0 win recorded in Ilorin against Kwara United. League leaders, Plateau United won in Jos 2-1 against the Ghana Golden Stars. Abia Warriors also defeated visiting Akwa United 2-1. Rangers had a 2-0 win over Adamawa United. Wiki Tourists pipped Nasarawa United 1-0 in Bauchi, the same scoreline Ifeanyi Uba had against MFM. In Kano, Pillars were 2-0 better than Dakada FC, while Warri Wolves were truly at home, deeming Sunshine Stars 3-0. Thanks for watching. That was Sports Update. Back to Muji.
Thank you so much, Hakim. We now bring you weather forecast for Tuesday, 3rd March 2020.